everybody, this is Mike Van Meter, and welcome to Recovery is Possible. And this is a podcast for those that are struggling with addiction or living with those struggling with addiction. And we're here to help you beat this terrible, terrible disease. And that's exactly what it is. And guys, I'm so glad to be back. For those of you that follow this podcast, I've been out of pocket for a while, and I just want to give you some feedback as to why that was. And then, of course, let you know that we're back online here doing this podcast, serving the community. So been gone for a little while. So you might be asking, where did Mike go? Where did the podcast go? Well, this last year, this was an incredible last year for me, and it's going to be a success story for recovery. And the reason why I was gone for so long is I actually ran for office here in Northern Virginia where I live. I ran for Congress. Now, don't panic. This is not a political podcast. We're not going to get into that. The only reason why I'm telling you this is that it's one of the beauties of recovery. But the only reason why I was able to do so is because I'm in recovery. And in August I celebrated 12 years, and I'm very, very happy about that. And I'm just so glad that recovery has been able to get me to do the things that I've always dreamed of. Now, I didn't get elected to the office. This is a tough area up here to run in, and running for Congress is tough. But you know what? When we're in recovery, we can do tough things, and that's exactly what I did. And so when my days are over, I can look back and say, hey, I did at least one of the things on my bucket list that I ever wanted to do in my life. And you can do that too. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about how being in recovery allows us to do all of those things that we always wanted to do, but drugs and alcohol took that away from us. It took away our future. Now, those of you that are familiar with the history of recovery may remember a man named Joseph Martin. Joseph C. Martin, he was a Catholic priest, and he was the co-founder of Father Martin's actually up in Havre de Grace, Maryland. There's some biographies about him out there if you are interested in learning more about him. But he was also the person that put together a very famous series of talks known as Chalk Talks, talking about recovery. And if you've never seen those, they are fantastic. Actually, some of the best stuff that I've ever seen out there on recovery. But the reason why I bring his name up, he said that alcohol in particular was the great remover. That alcohol was great to do all kinds of things. It was a great way. It was a great thing that you could use to remove dirt, sand, grease, paint. Even it was a paint remover. If you wanted to strip paint off of a table and then refinish it, you could do that. However, it was also a great remover of hopes, dreams, families, futures, and careers. And that is so true. That is so true. Any of us that have gone through alcoholism or addiction of any kind, that is absolutely true. It's pretty hard to debate with him on that. But as the name of this podcast implies, recovery is possible. And our lives every single day demonstrate that recovery is possible. When we go out and we talk about our recovery stories, whether we're at open meetings and we talk about our recovery, or we do a podcast like I'm doing, or you do a video, we demonstrate every single day that recovery is in fact possible. And, recovery is something that's both complicated and simple at the same time. And I won't even say that recovery is complicated, because frankly, recovery is simple. What it is that we make it complicated. It's not complicated. We make it complicated because we're complicated as human beings. And if you look at the history of recovery, the reason why so few people get into long-term recovery is defined as 5 years, because the medical world defines long-term recovery as anything greater than 5 years. But the reason why so few people get into long-term recovery is because we're stubborn. We're very, very stubborn, and we don't want to listen to the things that work, and we don't want to listen to the things that other people have done to get well, and we think that we know better. We think we have our own way of doing things, and that's disastrous for most of us. It's that stubbornness, that unwillingness to listen only the way that the dying can. And when we come into recovery, we have to be willing to listen to those that have gotten well. Now, when you do, what you're going to find is that the people that don't get well tend to do the same things. But likewise, people that do get well also tend to do the same things. Now, when I say the same things, I mean you will grab onto the same principles. Like, for example, developing a spiritual program. None of us are going to have the same spiritual program. I may be deeply religious and you may not be. You may be an atheist. You may be agnostic. That's okay. But what you are going to have is some sort of a spiritual program, a belief that some sort of a higher power out there exists. Now, it may be that higher power is nature. It may be that higher power is the group that you attend. It may be your family. It may be a cause that you're a part of, something that gives you hope, something that gives you a reason to get up every morning. And that's okay. We don't have to have the same things. The world would be a very dull place if we all believed the same exact thing. But what you find are people that are in recovery tend to have a higher power, a purpose greater than themselves to hold on to. I think me running for office this last year was an example of that. I got up every day. I knew what the purpose was. I knew what the mission was. I knew what I was trying to do. And it gives you something larger than you to hold on to, so you could go out there and serve the community, because ultimately that's what recovery is all about. It's about service. It's about serving people other than yourself. Because remember, addiction is isolation. We become very wrapped up in ourselves, and recovery is helping others. It's community. It's fellowship. It's the diametric opposite of what addiction is all about, because in our addiction, we're in our own room, we're in our own head, we're in our own space. We aren't getting out. We aren't working with other people. And in recovery, we do the exact opposite. That's why you see so many people going into jails, prisons, treatment centers, hospitals, going all over the country, talking and speaking. In the unit that I work in a detox unit. We have an AA meeting every day. There's only one group that actually does meetings every single day for us, and that's AA. Now, I'm not necessarily promoting AA. I'm just telling you that the program really emphasizes the need to get out and help other people, and that's what happens. And then consequently, we have all these people that come into the jail, which is a great thing. But in your own way, however you're going to do it, whatever motivates you, whatever is your way of helping the community, you will begin doing that in community. But when I say that recovery is simple, what do I mean by that? Because there is a simplicity to it. You know what it is? It's not using. That's what it is. It is not picking up that first drink or drug no matter what. Absolutely no matter what. Now, we live in a day and age now where that's becoming increasingly difficult, because we have a government that is beginning to legalize more and more things that are or were illegal at one point and now being legal. And yes, of course, you probably guessed this. I'm talking about marijuana. Now, I'm not going to make this particular episode about marijuana. We can talk about it another day, because it's not just marijuana. There's other things that are out there too. And the problem is that because our government is looking at addictive substances like marijuana and sees a way to get tax money and to do this for their benefit, they don't realize that they're harming people in the long run. Because, really, when you get down to it, if you're listening to this podcast and you're somebody that's addicted and has a propensity to be addicted, then you know that you and I really should not be using addictive substances at all, period. End of story. You've proven that. I've proven that. If we could have used substances safely, we would have done that by now. And the fact that somebody else can use a substance without becoming addicted to it is really none of our business. There are people out there that drink safely because they don't have that genetic preloading or that disposition towards addiction in the first place. And I'll talk about that at some point, how all of that works. But the point is that if you're in this category, that does not apply to you, okay? And so because the government is talking about people being able to use these substances, whether it's ketamine or marijuana or other things, talking about those being able to use those substances and having health benefits as a result. And that's the key. That's kind of the clincher there, that they tell you that they are used for health purposes. Then that's what drags people into using those substances. And if you're an addict, that's disastrous. We see it in the treatment center all the time. People come in. If you're in the category that I'm in, you cannot use these addictive substances, period. And the beginning of recovery is going to be the understanding that you cannot use these substances in any form safely and not picking it up. Because after all, when you look at a recovery programs aren't there to get you to stop using. You stop using by committing yourself to it or being in a detox unit or a long-term facility and being in a recovery program long-term. But the 12 steps and these programs are designed to get you to not pick up the first time. So that's really what it comes down to. To put it in simple terms, it's to get you to not pick up in the first place. So there's a distinction. There's stopping, and then there's staying stopped. And recovering programs are designed to keep you stayed stopped, if that makes sense. And it helps us to get through life no matter what, no matter how difficult life is, no matter what tragedies we face, no matter how difficult your boss is, your spouse is, all these things that happen in your life are really just life. It's things that people face all the time, every day, and they do it without using. And we have to learn how to get through life without using. So I hope that makes sense. But that's what we need to do. But all of this, of course, is going to start with us having that desire to stop and then being willing to do whatever is necessary to stop. But if you've not made a decision in your mind, 100%, no question, I want to stop drinking or drugging, period. And I'm willing to do anything that I can to stop drinking or drugging, it's probably not going to happen. In fact, I would find it nearly impossible for you to get well until you've made that decision that I'm done, absolutely done, no questions asked, using. Now, the beauty of that is then that gives you a singleness of mind. It gives you a clear direction. It gives you a goal. And I will tell you that in a lot of ways, I cherished that first year of recovery because there was no question what my goal was. Every ounce of my being was focused on getting well and not drinking again. And sometimes I know in my life, it's very important to have that really focused, simple goal in life, and that is to not use, period. And that's the way that it was in my particular case. And it was kind of fun because in that first year of recovery, everything was new to me. Every bit of literature I read, every book that I read, every movie that I saw that was related to recovery, and by the way, that's nearly all that I read in that first year or watched or consumed, was based on recovery. But everything was new, and it was very focused. And I actually cherished that time because I don't know that I've been that focused on my recovery since then. But then again, it gets easier as time goes on because you don't have the neural pathways and the physical cravings and the depletion of vitamins and minerals that you do in that first year of recovery. So it was a bit more simplistic. However, it made it really nice to be able to focus the way that I was able to at the time. And you can do that as well. So as we go into this new year, I really want you, assuming you're someone listening to this program that wants to get well and has not gotten well yet, I want you to really make that decision. Make that decision that you are willing to do whatever you need to do. You absolutely want to stop, and there's nothing in your life that you want more than stopping using, than being willing to do whatever you need to do it, and then do it, and then execute it. Because it doesn't do you any good to know all of the things that we're talking about, but then not execute the knowledge that you have. The knowledge is useless without the execution phase of it. And it's 100%. Remember, when it comes to recovery, you are either all in or you're all out. So let's make that decision to get all in this time. Let's make that decision to get all in because you can do it. I know that you can. And I'm praying that you will. And I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back on the podcast. And I thank each and every one of you to keep me motivated to do this, because helping you stay sober helps me stay sober. And we are going to do this, and we're going to do it together, because remember, addiction is isolation and recovery is community, and we're going to do this. So again, I'm Mike Van Meter. This is Recovery is Possible. And guys, we're going to have a big year, and I promise I'm going to get more episodes out to you. In fact, I want to get this on video as well, so you can see this and spread it to all your friends. And do take this message and send it out to all your friends far and wide, because we want as many people to get well as we can out there. So you guys take care. God bless. And we will be talking soon. Take care.